Hi everyone and welcome. So today I am trying out a new art supply. I found these water soluble wax pastels and I'm going to try them out and see what they're like. So first we're going to sketch them out on some of this mixed media paper here, and yeah, so let's unbox them. So when I start out a brand new art supply, I really do like to swatch it out first because I am able to get a feel for the art supply, see what the colors are actually like, and test them a little bit before I actually go in and make a proper illustration. So going into these, first I sort of did a little sketch of each color, but I also used some water and a paintbrush to sort of blend it out because these are water soluble. So that basically means you can use water with them and it will be like sort of like a watercolor effect, which blows my mind because oil pastels are oil based, and yeah, oil and water definitely don't mix. So when I saw these, I definitely had to grab them and try them out because yeah. So going into this, it was actually quite surprising how vibrant the colors were. Depends how much water you actually add because with some of them I did like a lot of water, and obviously it gave it more of a sort of washed out pastel look. But the more sort of pastel you add onto it, the more vibrant and intense they are, and that's definitely apparent in some colors more than others, especially that sort of ultramarine blue and the purple and the red. They were really vibrant, and I was really excited to get into using them. So before I actually go into a big illustration, I kind of want to do a sort of smaller, almost test illustration, and this is just so that I can get a feel for the art supplies and how they sort of work together before I actually sort of commit to a large illustration. And this gives me a bit of a chance to sort of practice with them a little bit more, sort of test it a little bit better than you can when you swatch it out, and yeah. So when I started on this test illustration, I kind of just went in and sketched with one of the light brown colors, and this turned into a bit of a mistake because as you saw, I sort of drew it on the wrong part of the illustration. I kind of did not account for the long tail that this Wallaby has. So I had to start again because I just couldn't fit the whole thing on the illustration the way I wanted to. I probably should have sketched with a light graphite pencil first, but nevertheless, that's kind of what the small test drawing is supposed to be for, I guess. So as you saw, when I finished off the sort of rough outline sketch, I went in and I colored in very lightly with some different colors, mainly the sort of light browns, light yellows, and then later some more darker browns and blacks. And then after that, I went in with my paintbrush and sort of like painted over it as if you would with watercolor pencils. Now, the drawing part of the Wallaby is not complete yet, however, I wanted to go into the background and start on that while the drawing was drying, and yeah, I actually decided to go with a sort of soft painterly watercolor effect to the background, and I used a few different colors and sort of shaded them lightly, and I used purple and pink and blue because I really love that combination when they're sort of blending in together. And then yeah, just sort of drew them in random sort of cloudy patches, and then after that I took out my paintbrush with water again and I sort of blended them in together. And it was really fun actually because you get all of the sort of benefits of the oil pastels, how they sort of like you can blend really nicely with them and smudge them around and stuff, but when you add the water they sort of turn into a bit more like a watercolor look, and when that dries you're actually able to layer on top of them more and continue with that sort of watercolor method. And it's really intriguing to me because when the paint actually dries it goes back to that sort of oil pastel feel. It doesn't feel like dry watercolor, so you're still able to sort of smudge it around as if it was sort of, you know, just oil pastel. So that's really intriguing and interesting to me. So after that, I went back into the Wallaby and I started to sort of define the colors and the patterns and more details on it, because as you can see, it's a very rough sort of first layer, and with watercolor type art supplies, I do prefer to sort of work in multiple layers and build up that texture and detail. So yeah, I went back in with the pastels and I drew some sort of like rough fur textures, which I knew were going to get blended in again, but then again, I still wanted to sort of build it up, if that makes sense. I used the black to sort of draw in the darkest details that I wanted to stand out, and that were mainly the eyes, nose, the shadows in the ears, and the rough sort of slightly darker parts on the tips of its feet, tail, and along its back. And then I used more browns and stuff like that to sort of blend it out and make it sort of fade into the warmer, sort of more yellow parts. Now this is a yellow-footed rock wallaby, so I'm actually using a lot of yellows and slightly light brown and orange sort of colors to sort of make that yellow really vibrant and bright and warm, and that's how I wanted it to look. And it was really fun sort of going back and forth between using the water to blend it and then like layering more pastel over the top. And it's really interesting because you get different effects when you blend it with water as than when you're blending it with just the oil pastels. The water does definitely give it more of a sort of wash feel. It's a bit more even and soft, and the pastels, when you blend them, they have that sort of painterly sort of almost rough sort of texture on them that I really do like. And this was pretty fun to do actually, but I still felt like I was limited, especially in the whole small size. I wanted to get more details in, and I felt like it would be a lot easier to do that on a larger piece of paper. So once I finished the wallaby, I went in with a new artwork, and I decided to do a bigger artwork that would have more detail in it, and it would be a bit more fun. So here is the final results, and I love this drawing so much. I decided to draw some more Australian animals because you know me, I love my Aussie animals. And yeah, I decided to do some red tail black cockatoos. As you can see, one is a female, one is a male. They have slightly different patterns, and I was definitely right in the fact that a larger piece of paper was easier. I was able to get more details in and sort of like, I don't know, refine it a little bit more than I could on the small one. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had so much fun painting this. It was definitely a fun experience. I do like these sort of water soluble oil pastels. They're interesting. They're kind of cool. So comment below if you've tried these yourself. I'm really interested to see if other people have tried them out and what they think. I know oil pastels sort of have a bad reputation among other artists, but I like them, and I like the whole water soluble aspect. It makes it really interesting. So anyways, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please smash like, subscribe to get your scribble fix in the future, and I will see you, hopefully, in my next video. Bye everyone.